for this panel. Thank you. It was really nice to listen to and get all the information. I actually wanted to touch on Joanza. That was great. The point that you brought up about the other committees, that was going through my head today when I mentioned the alcohol and substance abuse, because I'm on that committee. I'm a member of that committee, so I was thinking the same thing, that this ties in with so many other committees, and so it was great that you pointed that out. And I'm sure the rest of my colleagues that are still at this hearing now, who sit on other committees, will bring this information to them as well. So I'm confident that that'll happen. The next thing I wanted to touch on was the impact on nursing homes. And Mr. Nance, you brought that up, and it was totally, your remarks were dead on, right, spot on. I think what we really need is we need a full-blown investigation into the policies and the enactment of things that went on in New York State during this time period. Unfortunately, I think we've seen there was a misstep at the beginning. And the reason why I say that we need a full investigation isn't necessarily punitive. It's more about making sure that we don't ever make those mistakes again. And for that to happen, I think both the state Senate and the Assembly have to have hearings on it and flush out all those things specific to the nursing homes. And if anybody can add to that from the panel or would like to address it, please. Thank you.
From an AARP standpoint, certainly we support the investigations, and the governor has tasked the Attorney General to do just that, and we believe there should be an investigation. But in the meantime, we still do believe that the nursing homes and long-term care facilities deserve the same level of triage and attention that hospitals are getting, because like I said, it started in a nursing home. So yes, an investigation, but in the right here and now, form that long-term care task force. We've sent a letter to the governor asking just for that, so that we can deal with the fact that, in his words, there's a fire, like fire to dry grass.
I would suggest that maybe.
Before you go on, I just wanted to touch on, I know that the governor and Madam Attorney General is looking into conducting an investigation, but I actually think that we need something that may require outside monitoring, maybe a special investigator appointed by, if that was possible, the legislature, because we need different eyes on it. We can't have, I think, in my opinion, someone who represents the state and the policies that may have impacted those decisions. There'd be a little bit of a conflict of interest, even if there really isn't and their heart is in the right place. The perception is what we have to avoid.
Right. I think it's important to say that the first reported case was identified in the nursing home, and I would bet one of my favorite shoes that there were cases in jail, in the correctional setting, that just weren't tested. At least nursing homes ostensibly had an ability to provide that kind of space. But again, it's another institution where older people with comorbidities were. So first reported.
Okay. All right. Listen, I heard from so many people that it was, and this isn't meant to slight anyone. It's like, here we are, we're releasing people who are incarcerated based on COVID, and yet we were sending elderly back to nursing homes, which was in effect a prison for this pandemic. And it just did not, the way they approached it did not align with what the messaging was supposed to be about, in my opinion.
Could I add to that? I think to that point about older folks that are uniquely vulnerable to COVID-19, I'm pretty sure that Releasing Aging People from Prison, RAP, the organization, was not on this test to testify today. And there's a lot of folks across New York State who are elder folks who there's been legislation and a whole movement calling for these folks to be released from prison. So they were not sentenced to die, yet they're at the risk of dying. So we need to be able to have the kind of leadership in New York State that can hold the complexities of what does it look like to release our folks from out of these jails and prisons, which are petri dishes, get them not into shelters, which are also petri dishes, but get those folks into hotels and then build a pathway to permanent and stable housing, like by passing Senator Kavanaugh's housing access voucher program or Hevesi's home stability support. We have to be able to hold that complexity and put forward the kind of solutions that consider the unique vulnerabilities of people of color, of people who are aged, people with comorbidities, and people that have been systemically oppressed. That's where we are right now in New York State.
Thank you, Wanda.